Hi everyone, Vicky here. Hope you're all well. So this is just a video of my new Paul Ruben watercolour tubes. So they come in this lovely presentation box. So this is just going to be swatching and showing you the colours and just a little bit of chitter chatter about them. So once you open the box, it's all very nicely presented, as you can see. So you just get a leaflet about Paul Ruben watercolours, which has all the colours they offer. And then it comes with this beautiful pink palette. It's really nice, and the tubes will actually fit in. I have already tested that just for travelling around. So it has 24 spaces. There's 24 colours, so that works well. And then it also has this lift out extra palette, and then obviously the lid could be used as well if needed, just for mixing, which is grand. And then it comes with 24 tubes of colour. Which you can see here. They're all 8mm, and that's just a sample of one. I have already prepared a piece of watercolour card. I've just obviously wrote down which type it is, and I've wrote down all the colours that I'm using. This is titanium white, just for those keeping track. So I've wrote down all the colours that I've got, and I've also drawn a line under each for where the swatch is going, just so you can see the transparency, because all the videos I've watched said you should do that. So I've kind of gone with it. I'm just mixing in the water to try and get a reasonable consistency. I have seen a lot. I've never used the tubes before, and I've seen a lot where they say beginners tend to not water them down enough and kind of treat them a bit like acrylics, which is what I'm trying to avoid. Hence why I think some of these do end up quite wet, but it's needed. The second colour is Brilliant Yellow Red Hue, which is more a peachy colour when it goes on, but it's apparently a brilliant yellow red hue, so I'm going to go with that. I have got a pipette you've probably just seen, just to drip the water in. I just thought it might make it a bit easier to get these watered down, particularly. This is just a brush that I had from a couple that I had. I have got some new ones, so I'm just going to be using them soon. This is the Permanent Lemon Yellow. Cannot speak, do apologise. This I think is a really pretty yellow. I think it would look nice for like daffodils and things, and maybe blended into sunsets. It looks, actually, bear with us 1 second, I imagine it. Oh yeah, I'm totally telling you the wrong thing. That's actually the Indian yellow. It's because I picked them up the wrong way around. That's why. The next one is the Permanent Lemon Yellow, which is really, really pretty. I do apologise for that. Yeah, so that's the Permanent Lemon Yellow. I can't seem to get these to focus, so I do apologise in advance for that. You'll see I've got 2 water tubs as well, so they also suggest that you always have one that you use just for cleaning your brush off, and then you have one to take clear water out of, so that you're not contaminating your colours either, and your paints, which is a great idea. And that's my trusted piece of kitchen towel, which I have to the side of me. This is the Maple Yellow. They've got some very interesting names, these. As you're going on, you will see there are some really, really great names, I'm not going to lie. I'm finding it great fun, so, you know, that's always good. So let's give that one a nice little mix up. As it stands, they're all so far quite transparent, which is nice. This one's a little bit thicker, which is why I've tried to water it down slightly. But once it dries, and I do show you the card at the end, once it's dried down, you can still see it through. It's not the most transparent, it's slightly more translucent, but yep, this is the Cadmium Orange Red. This is a lovely bright colour. I really quite like this one. So I'm just trying to use the teeniest little amount of paint, and I'm trying to get the amount of drops of water I'm putting in to be about the same, just so that, you know, you can see a comparable amount of dilution. Is that a real word? I'm going to go with that being a real word, and hope for the best with that being a real word. For that, and then the next one is coming up, I think. So this one is the, oh, can't even read that myself now. This one is, I believe, this one is the cadmium red. So it looks quite dark there, but you'll see when I paint it down, it's actually one of the lighter ones when it's actually painted. I feel like I felt like I'd over diluted it, but then, oh sorry, that's what I'm totally talking rubbish. It's a ruby red or pooby red. It actually is a P on the tub and on all the literature for it, which I think is even more amusing. This one is the cadmium. My bad. Do apologise. Totally making things up, as you do. This is the cadmium red. This one, even with very, very little water added to it, just seems to be quite pale. So I think it's going to take a few layers with that one to build it up. As you can see, I do try putting a little bit more paint in to see if that helps, but it doesn't really seem to affect the transparency. It's still probably one of the most transparent. I just went back in to try and do it over again. But as you can see, it is really faint. But it's still really, really pretty shade of red. So we won't hold that against it. And the next one is the magenta. Now, this one I love. I absolutely love, love, love this colour. It is so pretty. This is just me moving everything up just so you can see it. I didn't want to move everything too much if I could help it while I was doing it. But yeah, this is the magenta, and I think it is possibly one of my favourite colours. It's just so pretty when it's painted on. I think it's going to get used a lot, I'm not going to lie. So that's the magenta going on there. There's one more. The next one is peach light. Now, it says peach light, but looking at the colour, it's pink. And when you put it in, it is very, very, very pink. It's hot pink. It's amazing. It's an absolutely fantastic colour. Like, it's absolutely stunning. It's so nice and bright. Why it's called peach light, I'm not quite sure, but hey ho. You'll also notice from about here, I do start changing my water slightly more regularly as well, because I'll start moving on to different hues soon. So just as a heads up, if the water suddenly magically changes, it's just where I paused. This one is the ruby blue, and this one actually is ruby, not pooby, which is really weird, but you know. I did find a couple of them. This is one of them. If you noticed when I was just squeezing it out there, a couple of them, I don't know if it's binder possibly, that kind of seems to be coming out with them a little bit when I'm squeezing them. That one wasn't too bad, and I just kind of mixed it in with the water, and it seems to have gone absolutely fine. It's still got a really nice covering. It's actually quite a nice dark shade of blue when it goes on. It's beautiful. So that's always good. It's just me trying to get a decent level. If I thought that I'd put too much water in any, I kind of tried to really quickly blot it and then redo. And any that I thought I hadn't put enough in, I kind of did the same thing. This one is the France Ultramarine. Now, this blue, I'm trying to think what it reminds me of, and I can't quite think of it. It's quite similar to the ruby, but it's slightly deeper. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's what I imagine a nice sunshiny blue sky, like somewhere in the tropics, is probably going to look like around about now, or maybe the sea. Can you tell I really feel like we've missed summer? So the next one is actually sea blue. To me, this has got a kind of teal look to it, maybe a little bit tealish, but it is again another stunningly beautiful colour. Like, it is really, really pretty once it's mixed up, and a little seems to go quite a long way with it as well. Just pop that onto there. I love it. I really do love it. Next one from that one is the indigo. To me, this is probably one of my least favourite, although it'll probably get used more than I would have thought, because it could be quite good for like stormy skies and stuff. To me, indigo was always more the purple side of the blue purple. But this is very much, I think, like a grey blue purple. You can see the purple tone in there. It is a cool blue. But to me it's a bit darker than I expected it to be, maybe. But I do still like it. There's not a colour on here that I don't actually like, at least a relative amount. After indigo, once I got my tube, this is turquoise light. This is one that I had a nightmare squeezing out. You'll see that it keeps coming out like that quite a bit, so there is a lot of tissue faffing going on here to try and clear that out. It did eventually come out much nicer after I gave it a bit of a shake, and that seemed to help a little bit. Some still comes out with it, but I kind of just went with it, and then there you see the blue comes out, so I cleared that bit out, and then when I went in the last time it seemed to be better with the colour. I don't know whether or not it just the way it had been stored, possibly, but it's the only one that was any kind of, there you go, see, blue. There is turquoise in there. As I say, once I mixed it, you couldn't see that additional colour to it at all. It just was a really, really beautiful, proper Caribbean Sea kind of blue turquoise, which I really liked. The next colour from that one is the Mineral Green, this one's called. It looks quite light there, but when you put it out, it kind of goes like a really, really nice, again, it's kind of a turquoisey, somewhere between a turquoise and a mint, I think. This is probably the most opaque out of the bunch. I added a lot of water to this. It's still wet now, and I did it before I started work, and I've finished work now, and I do, you know, a full 9.5, 5 day. So you can see the line through it, for the most part, but nowhere near as well as you can through most of the other colours. I think I can probably see about equal with the black. This is the yellow green, this is classed as, this is quite a nice, I think it's more of an autumnal green. To me, it reminds me of the kind of colour green leaves turn before they go yellow properly, in autumn, or fall if you're in America. So it is it's a nice shade. I can think of quite a few things I could use that for, which is lovely. After that one came the Emile Green Light. When I was writing these on my piece of paper, I had a bit of a moment. I think I was a bit too tired when I was writing it. But I know where it says, and I can work out where we're at, so it's all good. As long as I can follow my own handwriting, I think we're grand. This is a lovely shade. This is very much, to me, what I class as the Wizard of Oz green. If that makes sense to anybody, I count that as the Wizard of Oz green. The next one has a name that just makes me giggle every time because I'm very immature. This is the Hooker's Green Brilliant. Sorry, Bry Light even, not Brilliant. So Hooker's Green Bry Light, which is a odd name if ever there was one. But again, you know, whatever floats your boat, people. This is very much more of a deep piney green, I think. Again, I can think of loads of different foliage and stuff I can use that for, which makes me really, really happy. The next one is the, no, hold on, this is me trying to say it, Hatina Yellow Ochre. Yeah, there's some of these that are just really not built for people to try and say at any kind of speed. I'm not Bob Ross, I am not great at this. I do apologise, and Bob, if you're looking down on me, please don't judge, I'm begging. I'm trying, I'm really, really trying. So this is the, what do we call this one? Can't speak today. Venetian Red Ochre. So it was another one, when I was writing out my list, I'd forgotten to put it in on the bottom, so I had to pop it in up the top, just because for some reason I just didn't manage to fit it in, and I'm not really sure how I managed to mess that up, but It's really nice. It's kind of like a terracotta colour, I think is what I'm going to go with on that. It's quite terracotta-ish. Is that a word? Terracotta-ish. This is the Indian red. This is another one that I think is a really nice colour. I think if I ever get confident enough with my portrait skills and decide to do portrait colouring, I think a muted down version of this, maybe mixed with some of the brilliant yellow red hue, probably would make quite a nice light summer tanned skin kind of a tone. It kind of seems, it's the kind of colour that I think is a very autumnal colour. I've been trying to work out how I could mix all these, if you couldn't tell, to try and make other colours that would work really well. And I think the brilliant yellow red hue is going to definitely be my one that gets used a lot for mixing with other colours to try and make skin tones. This is the Cypress Burnt Umber. I love that phrase, burnt umber. I feel like Bob Ross used a burnt umber more than once. It seems like the kind of colour Bob Ross would have used. If you've never watched any Bob Ross, by the way, he's on Amazon Prime at the minute. You can watch his shows. They're absolutely great. If you ever need something to watch just as a chill, watch a Bob Ross art show. It will make you feel happy. It makes me happy every time I watch him, I'm not going to lie. So that's my burnt umber. And then I need to get that on there. I think there was a bit when I was trying to mix it, it just wasn't mixing in properly. It was kind of stuck to the brush, which was really annoying. So I did end up swapping out my brushes. And then last but by no means least, we have Coal Black. It is really a nice dark black. It is quite opaque. Opaque, yes. Not translucent. Opaque is the opposite of translucent, Vicky. It is quite opaque, but once it dries, you can see through it, which is nice. Which I really like. Because it means that if I did want to put anything over, like a line drawing in a dark colour, it would still technically show through. So that is my entire colour palette done. I love it. I think it looks so pretty when it's got all the colours in there. This is probably the second cleanest it's going to look. As you can see, this is the entire swatching. So you can see that, you know, as they dry and they are becoming more transparent, which is what happens. So take care, guys. Bye.